I've always said I think John Stockton is the perfect point guard.
He tried to make every ounce of energy he had do something great every time he stepped out on the floor.
He's just a tough guy. He's stubborn in a very, very positive way. All the great ones have that in them. They're stubborn enough like they aren't gonna lose. His energy and that kind of rubbed off on everybody on the team.
If the basketball gods ever decided to create a point guard from scratch, they would make him in the image of either John Stockton or Chris Paul. Both of these players have made an impact on the game that will last generations. They each played with a toughness born out of necessity, normal-sized men against the giants. And when we look back at the NBA in the distant future, imparting our wisdom on the game, much of that knowledge will have been handed down from John Houston Stockton and Chris Emmanuel Paul. When examining John Stockton's greatness, it's enough to just list all of his accomplishments. He is number one all-time in assists by a margin of over 3,000. He led the league in assists per game for 9 straight years, and his assist-to-turnover ratio in the playoffs is the highest of any player who averaged at least 8.5 assists per game. He played at a faster speed than most players, a step ahead, always looking to set up a teammate first, which is why his career scoring average is relatively low. Chris Paul has led the league in assists per game 4 times and is the active leader in this category. He's currently ranked 10th all-time in total assists, and he is destined to climb that ladder all the way to 2nd all-time behind John Stockton. Both of these players take care of the ball better than anyone else ever has, way out in front of the field, but Chris Paul has a distinct edge here. When we compare ball handling, it's important to note the difference in eras. When Stockton began his career in the 1984 draft alongside Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan, dribbling skills hadn't evolved yet. His signature move was the high crossover, bringing the ball across his body combined with a change of pace as he split his feet into a different direction and higher gear. This allowed him time and again to blow right past his man, regardless of their athletic ability. It was his sense of timing, along with underrated quickness, that allowed Stockton to compete for 19 years without dropping in production. Chris Paul, on the other hand, was born out of the And One mixtape era, daring to put on exhibitions nightly designed not only to find openings for the offense, but to humiliate the opponent and entertain the fans all in one motion. His sham god defied logic, leaving his man an uncertain and unbalanced mess, sometimes on the ground in a heap, left to contemplate his manhood. And this yo-yo dribble is as creative as they come, and CP3 has the guts to execute all manner of crazy combinations that ultimately lead to a successful offensive possession. John Stockton's effective field goal percentage is 2nd all-time among point guards behind only Steph Curry, and it's more of a testament to his ability to get to the rim and finish than it was his jump shooting. While he did shoot well from three-point land, it was on very low volume, as was the style of play during his era. Stockton's crafty ball handling enabled him to get right to the rim time and time again, and with the illegal defense rules of his day, there was more space to get to the hoop once you beat your defender. Chris Paul would not be considered a score-first point guard by any stretch, but his aggressiveness compared to Stockton makes him look like a gunner. His ability to control the whole possession is unparalleled in today's game, knowing the right time to find the cutter open for a layup, and the only other player at his level of passing accuracy and timing is LeBron James. Paul takes twice as many threes as Stockton did, again, a factor of playing in the modern era, and isn't that far off in terms of percentage. And while CP3 has the crown of best mid-range shooter off the dribble, it's Stockton who has a significant lead in both two-point, effective field goal, and true shooting percentages. Defensively, they are almost identical in steals per game. Stockton had the fastest hands in the game, enabling him to flash those meat hooks in a blur and snatch the ball away, and Paul has similar abilities. Stockton is so far ahead of the field in career steals, it seems doubtful anyone will ever pass him. But Chris Paul has been a lockdown defender at what has been the most elite position in the NBA for his entire career. Stockton could make up for his lateral quickness deficiencies with heady plays, but CP3 could simply shut you down and not let you do anything. In the playoffs, both players experienced profound heartache over multiple seasons. John Stockton's Jazz were perennially the best in the West, and when they finally broke through to the finals for 2 straight years, the only reason they couldn't win the whole thing was 2 words: Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Stockton's teams made it to the conference finals 3 times and the semifinals 5 times. Stockton's big hero moment came against Houston when he hit a tie-breaking 3 at the buzzer to send another ringless Hall of Famer home in Charles Barkley. Chris Paul has also not won an NBA title, and playing in the Western Conference all these years, there's no shame in not getting out of that yearly bloodbath. But he's never made it out of the second round of the playoffs either, and the whispers get louder each year he doesn't break through. Injuries have been a devastating cause of so much of their playoff trouble. But some of the blame also falls on him and his healthy teammates. His heroic playoff moment happened when he beat the Spurs with a runner in an all-time epic 7-game series. But in the fluke of playoff seeding rules, it was in the first round. And that led to an epic 7-game collapse against the Rockets in round 2. So in the end, we're left having to decide which of these 2 players is better. While there are stark differences in how they played, there are also some striking similarities. And there are numerous factors you need to weigh, like career longevity. Stockton played all 82 games for 16 of his 19 years in the NBA. Chris Paul has only played in all 82 once in his career. But Paul is the better scorer, takes care of the ball better, and is the better overall defender. You can't lose picking either of these guys. The toughness they share elevates their teams and leads to a whole lot of winning. But if I had a gun to my head and was forced to make a pick, I'm going with Chris Paul. Sports fans, if you like this video, consider heading over to our BBallBreakdown Plus account and becoming a patron. You'll get even more exclusive content just like this, including player breakdowns on all the top draft prospects in this year's NBA draft. Click on the link in the description below and get in the conversation today. You in?